Hey y'all, I'm Victoria, and this is the first episode of my new podcast. Yay! I am starting a series. This is the first series, so we'll be talking about many different things, but the first series is dedicated to motherless daughters. It is something that is near and dear to my heart because I am a motherless daughter myself. I lost my mom in 2010. 2010. So it's been quite a while, but it still hit the same. Being without your mother, especially when you had a good relationship, and we had a great relationship. Just a little bit about her. She was a teen mom. She had me when she was 16 years old. So we basically grew up together, and it was just me and her. And when I was very young, she married my stepfather, which is my dad, because I was really young, probably about 3, 4 years old when they got together. And that was my dad until the day that he died. I was their only child. I didn't have any siblings with them, and that was my girl. We had a really good relationship. Um, I ended up being a teen mom, and honestly, I don't know if that kind of brought us closer together because going through your teen years, you have girls have an attitude. I had an attitude sometimes, but for the most part, I was a pretty decent girl. I was fast, but I was pretty good outside of the little occasional attitude. But we did have a good relationship, and she was very supportive. She was a very supportive mom, and anything that I did, it didn't matter what I did, she was my number one cheerleader. And not only just mine, she was the support for so many other people, our family members, cousins, uncles, aunts, everybody. She did everything for everybody, the church members, and she was also a Jill of all trades. She did anything and everything. She drove buses for the church, she drove for the school system, she was a seamstress, so she did everybody's prom dress at our high school. She did cakes, so she made wedding cakes, and she did decor for events. And when I say she did everything, she literally did everything for everybody. And she was just, I don't know, she was just like a mother figure or, best friend for everybody. So I did have to share her, but she was mine and I was hers. And that's the type of relationship we had. So losing her was very detrimental to me because in losing her, I realized that she was a big part of my identity. And that's something that you don't really realize until it happens. Our identities are tied into each other's because that was my mom. I was her daughter. She belonged to me. I belonged to her. And no matter what, that was my girl. you know, it took a lot for me to deal with her passing. Now, the way that she passed, it it was kind of, I think it was less of a blow just because when she got sick, because she was sick, and we'll go in other episodes talking about the details of everything. But when she got sick, she lost the ability to talk, she lost the ability to walk. And when she lost the ability to talk, for me, that was the hardest hit because she went into the hospital and she never came home. And that was the day that everything changed for me because not being able to talk to my mom, and I was probably about an hour, maybe 20 minutes away from her, being in the hospital. And I called her for everything. It didn't matter what it was, whether it was for an upset stomach or because I needed advice on how to cook something or something with the kids or whatever it was. We literally talked 10, 11, 12, and sometimes 20 times a day on the phone because that was my girl. And when I could not talk to her anymore, when that reality hit me in the face, that was the biggest blow for me. I don't even think it was her passing because she was sick for 3 months and then she passed. And she was so sick that by the time she passed away, I had stopped praying for God to heal her and just said, Lord, if you're not going to heal her, then just take her, please, because I can't watch her like this anymore. And if you knew my mom, you knew that she was not the type of lady that would be laying up in somebody's bed or laying up in her bed or on the couch or anything. Literally never took naps, literally never was sick. When she got sick, she had so much sick time. Literally, she was in the hospital for 3 months and she still was using sick time. That's how much sick time she had, because she never, out of all the years she was with the school system, she never ever took sick time because she was never sick. But then all of a sudden she gets sick and then never comes home. That was a tough blow for me before she even died. With that being said, going back to our relationship, me being the only child, I had a really good upbringing. I did realize when I got older that it wasn't a very affectionate home. I knew they loved me, but we didn't say I love you or give very many hugs or anything like that. But there was no doubt that my parents loved me at all. So that was never in question at all. But I just realized when I got older and I had my own kids that there was like literally hardly no affection. My dad was like old, like he was way old. They were in an age gap relationship. That's what they would call it in these days. I don't know what they called it back in the day, maybe a sugar daddy or something. But the age gap relationship, so he was much older than my mom. So I can understand from his era of growing up not being very affectionate. But whenever I did bring it up to them right before my mom passed away, we did start implementing telling each other that we loved each other and making sure that we hug and be affectionate towards each other. And it was kind of crazy because they never lacked the affection towards my kids. So I don't know, I guess, the older that your parents get or the older that people get, you learn from your mistakes, and the grandkids get the best of everything because that's how it happened. When you have kids, your gifts stop coming, all of that stuff stop coming, and they get it. Y'all know what I mean. But anyway, I had a good upbringing, two-parent household. We were middle class, took regular vacations. Like, I loved it. The only thing I didn't love was being the only child. And some people call me spoiled, but I never considered myself spoiled. I didn't have like lavish things. I was the only child. So if I wanted something, I did get it, but I had to work. I had to clean. I had to, do chores. I had just like anybody else. So it wasn't that everything was given to me, because it wasn't. That was one of the ways that they loved on me. And so with having that type of relationship with my mom, she made sure that, I was active in all the sports and all the programs and all of the things. And so having that support being ripped away, because when I say ripped away, I mean ripped away. And just an example, not only as a child was she supportive, as an adult, baby girl did not miss anything. Okay. I was what, maybe 22, 23, decided to go to nail school. And I had probably about three or 500 more dollars to go to pay off my tuition. And when I say, as soon as I mentioned it to her, she was like, "Oh, say less." My mother rented the Radisson Hotel. And back then, the Radisson, it was a nice hotel, the presidential suite. And she invited people for me to give them services, do their nails, their pedicures, all of those things, and for them to donate. And when I say we had the money to pay off my tuition, like those are the type of things that my mom would do, because she was one of those women that was always down for a get together, a party, a gathering, a fish fry, whatever. Whenever she could get people together, she got people together. Okay. Love to have a good time. So that was the type of support that I had with my mom. With my kids, we literally were there every single day. Every single day. When before I moved out of the city, we were at my parents' house every day. The kids got out of school. They went to their house until I got off of work. When I got off of work, I went to my parents' house with my kids. We ate dinner. We, watched TV, joked around, whatever. I wasn't home every day until about 8 o'clock. And then it's time to do it all over again. So we had I classify our relationship as a very codependent relationship because anytime I just wanted to get off work, go get my kids and go straight home and cook for my kids and just relax, my dad was upset. Okay. So it was a codependent relationship, but I loved it. And yeah, sometimes it got on my nerves because sometimes you just want to go home from work and just relax and not be at somebody else's house. That led to me wanting to find my independence and knowing that if I stayed in the same city, that I would continue to be codependent on them for childcare, for meals every single day, which was so nice, by the way. uh, those things like that, you cannot come by them very easy, and a lot of people don't have that, and was like, okay, why would you ever want to leave that? But I felt like I would never ever gain true independence if I stayed, and so I made the decision to move away, probably about an hour 10 minutes away. And when I did, it was great. It was great. I was able to get on my feet in the new city with the kids. At that time, I had two kids. They were 5 and 10 whenever I decided to move. My parents were, I don't know about my dad, but my mom was pretty excited. Excuse me. She came to visit very often and we talked all the time. But little did I know that I was going to lose my mom maybe a year later, maybe a year and a half. Yeah, almost 2 years. But yeah, and had I known that I would lose her, um, of course, I don't think I would have moved because I would have wanted to enjoy her last days, her last year and a half, being in the same city and soaking up all the love that I could get from her. Because after that, after she passed, you can't get any more love. You can't get any answers. You can't get anything from them. And that's a hard pill to swallow. And losing your mother and not having siblings or, to help you go through it or to lean on, I think was very difficult. Yes, I have a wonderful husband, my kids. At that time, I think my youngest child was maybe 7, and having my kids and having to mother while grieving, and that's also something else that we'll talk about. But those things are very difficult. Um, and then, of course, once everything goes away, once the funeral is done, once the gatherings to eat the chicken at the house, at the and the repast and all of that stuff, once all of those things are gone, you just left with no support. You know, not saying that my family didn't support me, but it just kind of went silent. And yes, like I said, I did have the support of my husband, my kids as much as they could because they were young, and my grandmother, my aunt, and outside of that, it was just radio silence. And it's like life just moved on for everybody else, but of course not for me. The days did pass by, yes, but I was left there without my mama. It's like, girl, how you just go up and leave me like that? It's and when you have a mom that is so supportive and that you're so close to, like, I can remember my cousins, my adult cousins, when I was a little girl, they used to always be like, oh, you cry so much when your mama leave they used to babysit me and they was like, oh, you just whine all the time, just whining, whining, whining because you want your mama. And that was me. And my mama was the type of mom that you ain't spending the night at nobody's house. I probably had one friend that my mama let me stay the night at her house. Just one. And she was that type of mom. So it was us. It was just us. And that was it. So that was very difficult to just be in this world, this big old world without your mama to navigate things. And I think about my relationship with my daughter, and when like she still calls me, like she'll call me when she got to go to the doctor. She called me, asking me questions like, how do I do this, or where do I, you know, I I have been on the phone with her while she's in a doctor's appointment with the doctor. So it's those types of things. Like my mom was that supportive girl too. She was that for me. And to no longer have that is jarring. It's like you don't know what to do with yourself. It's, you lose your a sense of identity. You I don't know. It's just a hole that you feel. Um, it's hard to describe because you definitely don't know until you know. You know how people say, if you know, you know. That's one of those things. If you know, you know. So that's it for this episode. I'll be going into further details regarding our relationship, regarding how she passed away, regarding how I dealt with the grief of losing her. And I also have a couple of guests on a few episodes. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, and come back for more and stay tuned. Okay, bye.